Well, a draw. I don't know if we should be celebrating or commiserating, but we'll do something, and hopefully Moneta's full faces in the shot this week. Let's see how we go. This is Warriors Anonymous.
This is Warriors Anonymous.
All right, guys, welcome along to the latest episode. It was a 22-all draw for the One New Zealand Warriors versus the Manly Sea Eagles. Strange game. Very strange sort of game. And I think at many points, a lot of people probably didn't think we were going to get that close as the game wore on. But let's get into it. Jared Cronin, Moneta Sauce, Isaac Sauce, and Daniel Wharekura joining you to dissect what went on in the Golden Point friggin' malaise. I don't know if that's the right word, but we'll start with a quick hard or nah. Oh, actually, before we even get into that, we've got a couple of things to do as well. Bit of housekeeping. First off, massive congratulations to the Warriors Harold Matthews Cup team, the under-17s, first year in the competition, first year making the playoffs, and then this very weekend overthrew the third place Parramatta Eels team in a massive upset. So they are going to be going through to a prelim final next weekend. So congrats, guys, and look forward to bringing you more highlights across that as well. Also, a little bit of housekeeping from our last episode, because things went a little bit all over the place, which was great. But Daniel, I've got a little bit of feedback from Sheldon Wilson, who tuned in on the latest episode. And they just wanted to point out to you that you needed to be referring to Wade Egan as Wade rather than Wayne. So, bro, so I know that there is a valid reason for this, referencing of Wayne Egan. So, bro, here's your chance to just let Sheldon know, man.
Sheldon, look, we understand it's Wade. But there's something better just calling him Wayne. We just love Wayne. So like, I'll maybe in the future I'll kind of put Wade. I'll just say Wayne, aka Wade.
Wasn't it in response to that banner that someone badly spelt? And
yes.
They misspelt Wayne as well. They just wrote W-A-N-E.
Yeah.
Egan.
Good reminder. Yeah.
So more
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
yes.
So Sheldon, I hope you appreciated that, and thanks very much for commenting as well. Boys, a bit of a burning issue of the week. Well, maybe the last 2 weeks, shall we say, because the ghosts of Freddie Lussick were helping us on the weekend, shall we say. Hard or nah? We'll start with you, Moneta. Should the SJ charge down, in your opinion, forget about context, forget about everything else, in your personal opinion, when you watch that act, do you think that is worth a penalty?
No. If you didn't take it, but rules are rules now. So if you take into no, stop it there.
Yeah.
You can go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, fair. I'm with you, bro. I'm definite. No, I don't think that. When I look at that, I'm like, nah, just play on. Buddha, what's your take on that, bro?
Penalty all the time, every time. You just can't take the leg out. You can't. You can charge down a kick without taking the leg out. It's the angle of the run. You know that you cannot hit the kicker's leg.
Yeah.
And we know the reasons why. Elias broken leg, taking the act out. You just have to angle the run. You're trying to charge the ball down. You're not charging the leg down. Okay? So players need to smarten up to that ball. And you would have thought, right, come on, can't take the leg out. I know it's here the battle, but you run towards where the ball's going to be kicked, where not sweep the leg. It ain't Karate Kid.
Sweep the leg. Yeah, that's right. And it's almost getting a little bit. People have commented saying, it's a bit kind of soccer, taking a dive. For me, it actually looks a lot like NFL, whereby in those situations, if you touch their leg, man, you're in a bit of strife. So, Isaac, what do you think, bro? Hard or nah, if that should be a penalty, that particular infringement?
Yes, it's a penalty. It's a penalty. It's a penalty. These days, it's a penalty. Maybe not last year. Oh, definitely not last year or the year before, but this year, that is a penalty. So, we'll take what we can get. People have got to smarten up. Like Peter said, these days, that's the rules. Them's the breaks. And yeah, funnily enough, Freddie Lussick unfortunately did us a favour with his charge down. Kind of opened up the doors for that to happen. So, yeah, it's just the way the cookie crumbles.
What a team player Freddie is. He gets suspended for 4 weeks and then helps us in the first grade, not lose the game, which is nice.
While we're talking about new rules or rules that are being officiated now, I was a little bit like, what the fuck, you can't jump in the air and distract a guy? Yeah, and that's a rule. So, they're obviously taking things out of the game that can, put people in vulnerable positions and harm. I get it as well. So, actually means you have to wise up. You either go for the ball properly, or you obviously wait to tackle the player on the ground. So obviously we got done for that, didn't we? Capewell went up and went like a little alley-oop. And
we lost a challenge on that as well. I actually, looking at that again, just to add in another can of worms to this massive can of worms, I was looking at that play and what the work of Luke Brooks was doing. Because he was basically running right in front of where Capewell was trying to get to. And that forced Capewell to jump up kind of a little bit more to the side than what he was, originally intending. So I was like, I felt like we missed the opportunity. It was a bad challenge because we lost it.
Bad challenge.
But we also should have challenged the fact that the bit before Capewell jumping was where the infringement was from Luke Brooks getting in the way. But that's just me. There's a few things going on around those kicks. You might just, teams might just have to evolve and, maybe stay a few meters back from the fullback, but just pull out like a laser pointer and just kind of try and distract them that way.
Just pull his shorts down, whatever.
Exactly. There's another distraction. Don't
okay.
To the point of distracting the player trying to take a high ball or whatever, what's happened to the art of actually just competing in the air? There's only a few players in the league that are doing that. Like Xavier Coates, Will Warbrick, Zach Lomax is a gun in the air, but it's not that long ago.
For the Sharks was good.
It's not that long ago. The Warriors had some players that could really compete in the air, but it seems to be the dying art.
It's not the game plan.
Yeah, Rocco's handy. Rocco's pretty good at that, and I think that's something that we could explore. Just a quick side note: is it illegal if you're running up towards a catcher of football to yell at them full bore, just just yell out something, just to try and scare them that way? Is that worth a penalty?
America! Did you yell America? No.
America! Yeah, nice. I like that. Isaac, Ray, we'll go back to you as well, man. Just because I can see you having another glass of water, so I'll throw this back to you. Why does Manly? They seem to be a team that always rattles our cage. Why is that?
I don't know. Maybe it's a mental thing. It really is. I mean, they've got a amazing record at Mount Smart. I think there were 17 games and they'd won 12. 11?
12. Yeah, 12, 11.
I think they're just the sort of team that matches up, always seems to match up pretty well against the Warriors in terms of their strengths. And DCE is just, he's been a class player for fucking years, and he's generally the one that pulls the rabbit out of the hat against us. But yeah, generally I think even teams in the past, the Manly team always sort of stacks up pretty well in terms of their strengths against us. And generally their forward pack just seems to run. Generally they have a pretty big forward pack and they run hard. They gas us. They make mistakes and they gas us.
They had a pretty solid defensive game plan as well, which
they did.
Really, they showed they'd done their homework because they hadn't always been so stout on defence this year. But from our perspective, Monitor, if you're looking at across our season in terms of how we've performed, was that potentially our worst performance of 2024?
Yeah, I probably would say so for the majority of the game. I think I always get nervous when it's wet weather. Our structure seems to not be as slick, if you would say. And again, Jackson Ford, he's susceptible to a few knock-ons every now and then when you think he's got the ball Yeah. But, yeah, it wasn't our best. I thought Manly did play well on D, really rushed up on us, and so kind of created a bit more unease in terms of our attack. But, yeah, it wasn't flash. But, to our credit, we were able to come back in and get it to a draw. So, trying to think positively, but it wasn't our finest game. But we still got a draw, if that makes sense. So that's some positive. We didn't play best, but we got a draw somehow.
Man,
We had heaps of coach killers though, eh? Like that are the things that we look at our errors versus their errors. Our errors were just in the wrong part of town at the wrong time of the game, and then we didn't back up our errors as well. So we actually just shot ourselves in the foot. And I think Monita said with the weather, we just seemed to push a pass. I mean, sorry, Miss Jackson forward. He had some difficult passes. Maybe the timing was out as well.
They took him off of Laban at the end.
That was interesting.
Yeah,
that was interesting
I
to
think
trust.
Yeah.
To trust the young fella at that stage of the game. I thought
Yeah,
that
I was surprised.
Yeah,
But I reckon Footer's got a point though. Like, there's a couple of passes maybe just on a smidgen too hard for those conditions, and the way he's playing, running full ball on an angle, you kind of got to play to the conditions, drive to the conditions. Like,
if
maybe
they
a
change,
little bit of a
reduce your
softer
speed.
pass.
Exactly. And just one more other point. I noticed that Manly scored most of their tries on our right hand side. Like our right hand defense was not looking up to scratch, and even there were a couple of times when DWZ rushed in, I was like, oh no, what is he doing? But he made up for it, obviously, the first tries he scored. But they were really going for our edges and they scored most of the tries on the edges. So yeah,
That's been an ongoing thing too. I think since the start of the year, we've looked a little bit vulnerable down that right edge, and I'm sort of replaying a few tries in my head at the moment from different games, which is it's a worry. It's a work on. But Buddha, last week we spoke about the affectionately termed Cheapies from the Street Fighter game, whereby basically it's a bunch of stock standard moves that are simple but effective. That's basically the it's not as perhaps entertaining, but it gets the job done. It almost seemed like this week our Cheapies weren't quite as effective, and we kind of had to flip it up a little bit and rely a bit more on the flip kicks and the X Factor kind of moves. That was a figurative, by the way, not an actual flip kick, guys.
Also, just to add to that, in the Street Fighter reference, who noticed Ryu, DWZ, do an uppercut twirl in the air, intercept, and straight down the field? Like,
You could.
Yeah,
that was more like Blanca.
it was beautiful.
More Blanca's hair reminds me, like.
yeah. But I like the 360 twist in the air, right, and then to take off. But I guess our Cheapies didn't necessarily work. I mean, we just had a shit start to the game, and just put ourselves under pressure. But I think there were elements of Cheapies that got us back in the game. We were able to scoot out a dummy half. Dowling was getting going. Chan's obviously
320 metres.
6,000 metres. Oh man, effort on effort plays. Roger got in there too where he could. So we didn't have a few more stylistic plays to get us through. I'll talk a bit about errors later, but I think we just showed that if it didn't quite work one way, we found another way. Despite the shit mistakes and coach killers, with 3 seconds to go, a second to go, we got nothing out of that game. And to be fair, I think we should have won it in Golden Point. We had the best chance, the best chances. So we've got to be pretty proud of the team. And I don't think Manly couldn't put us away. They just couldn't quite put the nail in the coffin. And
They were gassed at the end, eh?
Yeah.
The Warriors, the Cheapies didn't work, but to their credit, they found a way. They were opportunistic, I thought. So DWZ getting away, SJ throwing that specky past the DWZ. Opportunistic, but you take what's in front of you. But more importantly, I think DWZ's hair kind of reminds me of Jean-Claude Van Damme in Hard Target now. Anyone get that vibe? It's very.
Going to be a hard target.
It's very Jean-Claude Van Damme like now. It's kind of square here.
It's magnificent.
And then really long.
And the tank top. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. Hard target. Okay, that's something to work with as well for this week's
Yeah.
teams day.
So he's going to do the splits the next try he scores.
Yeah. I scored this many tries doing the splits.
You smudge.
So I had to bring that up because that hair was really flowing in that intercept try. That was gold.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Moneta, you did. Well, we've touched on already the errors, and also Jackson Ford particularly. But bro, you're going into bat for Jacko. Are you right behind your former man crush?
Yeah, I think there's elements like with the wet weather, some of those passes are much harder to catch. So, and he does play pretty direct if I give it to him. But again, a drop ball is a drop ball. But he does play pretty direct when he catches on to the pass usually. So, and he still makes those meters. But I did notice he did get subbed off for Laban, especially within those crucial last to 15 minutes of the game, and even into golden time. So, to me, that kind of sent the signal from Webster. I was like, oh, I would have thought you would have Jackson for those crucial moments rather than Laban. But credit to Laban, he played very well in those conditions too. So
Yeah,
it proves well for our depth.
yeah. He didn't look overawed or anything. He's
No,
kind
he
of
looked calm
just
as a
he
cucumber.
slotted in there really well, and you could see him getting involved and putting a little bit of chat on the Manly players and getting involved in that. But Buddha, what were your thoughts on just how Laban was utilised more, especially as the game got down to the pointy end and beyond?
Oh, I love it. Like, we've got such a strong team and we've got a lot of injuries at the moment that we just have to find ways to give big game exposure to these young fellas as well and put them in that pressure cooker environment, surrounded by key players, because they're going to be needed this year. And I'm really glad that Laban, they used him as a middle in that first run of interchanges as well, with Jazz obviously going down. And you think about next week, actually he's probably going to have to be there as well. So no, I love it. Give them exposure. Very different to what we used to have. Like, remember, we're going to search through the old libraries of
The
Warriors
archives.
Anonymous podcast, the archives. But there were weeks where young fellas just had to play, right, and they got pumped, and they had probably a bad experience of what first grade's about as well. But Hill got the fortune of blooding them in and bringing them into these games and testing them in big moments as well. So, but maybe there was Jackson Ford, like, he's a workhorse, right? So, I think they do monitor efforts as well. So, giving him a break, is warranted as well. So, yeah, we're going to need more of him. And now we're all thinking about, well, Jazz is going to be out. So, who is the next crop? There's a lot of talk about who's coming up as well.
Oh, exactly. Now, injuries, obviously, we maybe just took on a little bit more water on the weekend, shall we say, with the injury to Jazz, which was a hammy, which is going to be out for a little while, you'd think. Potentially, it could be maybe the end of the road for Jazz in a Warriors jersey, Isaac.
I'd hate to see it happen. You'd love to think he'd be a wire for life, but that's the economics of the game, right? And I'm sure he would be able to find another club. They'd want to snap a player like him up. It would be pretty sad that after everything he's done after all these years, especially through the dark ages, this is how it'd end up. But there's every likelihood that happens. And injury doesn't help.
Yeah, I saw a comment by the Warriorholic saying, that sentiment that it could be, he needed to have an extended run without injuries to be able to, earn a spot to re-sign.
Yeah.
So
I felt sorry for him because, we were playing shit up until the point where he actually came on and created that momentum and that aggression we needed to get back into the game. And that try score, he was running direct, getting those post-yard meters, post-tackle meters. And then, it just gets that hamstring. And he was actually the one giving us that chance to get back into the game. And it just showed that, if he's 100% fit, imagine what he could be like. So it was hard to see him go down. Yeah,
for sure. It is funny as well. I was thinking that when he did get subbed on, it was kind of like this is a Jazz kind of game right here. And I remember that first game against Cronulla when he wasn't on the bench. And that was a Jazz kind of game as well, where we needed some sort of influence. Just what he brings, the intangibles. But now, in terms of looking ahead to, just looking a little bit further ahead of this year, that is the pending departure of Adam Whenua-Blake. He's going to leave an AFB-sized hole in the middle forward stocks. So I know that all of us have actually got some contenders, as in potential players who could, we could bring in or put in to, try and fill that void. But we'll start with you, bro. Who are you looking at? Who have you got your eye on to potentially, come in and replace Big Adam?
Well, I looked at the weekend before, and I saw Tor Sipley had a barnstorming game for Manly against the Panthers as interchange middle, and he was damaging against us as a bench middle. And I know he's off contract on 25. He's an ex-Warrior as well, so we'll be bringing him back. I just think someone like that, because I think we don't need to sign. Well, you'd love to think you're going to have someone come up within the club, and that's the whole plan, right, for that big money. So you might just want to sign an elder statesman, someone tough, someone big. We need a big middle because I reckon we're a small pack without Adam. So, yeah, he's looking pretty strong for me to get a couple of years out before some of the young colours come through.
Yeah, nice. Isaac, bro, who have you got in your mind to replace Adam?
Well, I saw quite a few games over the weekend, but over the past few weeks, I've noticed two players in particular. They'd be probably pretty tough to get because of their situations, but one is Tyrrell May from the Roosters.
Yep.
I mean, he's a young up-and-comer, but for someone who plays off the bench, he's playing big minutes, he's got powerful runs, he's got an offload. When I see him, I just see the makings of a Warriors player, and if Webster could get a hold of that talent, he could make him into one of the best props in the game, I reckon. He's just got a massive engine for such a young buck, and just the way he plays is kind of like I don't want to say Ali Lautiti, but he's got an offload in him, and I love to see that, but it'll be hard to snatch him away from Sydney City because they know they've got the talent there. The other one is Stefano Otoka.
30-party contracts and dodgy deals under the bed, and everyone's getting paid off the books. And promise of a job when you finish.
Yeah, don't we have to sign him and his two brothers as well?
We can pull some Soprano shit in the background, make it happen, swing some deals. But Stefano Otoka as well from West Tigers. He's having a career year at the moment right now. He's probably getting his dollars up, but he's finally fulfilling that potential that's been there for such a long time. And I reckon him in a Warriors jersey would be pretty fucking nice as well. But those two, probably the guys that I see that I'd love to have replace AFB.
Yeah, nice. Moneta, who are you looking at, my man?
I was actually thinking, because David Fafita is coming off contract, I think, this year. And he's looking to, and I know he's a second rower, but you kind of look at Barnett, he came in as a second rower,
yep.
And now he's converted to a prop, which he played awesome, I thought, yesterday in defence. And then I think maybe the culture that we have within the Warriors, with turned players like, for example, Sean Johnson wasn't having, a good time of it, and then this new culture of Webster maybe could do the same thing with David Fafita, maybe give him that confidence, and that he may get back to that barnstorming kind of play that he was when he was playing for the Broncos. So I think there could be opportunity with a guy that's not really wanted, but we know the potential, and maybe under a new structure, he could maybe rise to the occasion. That could be a bit of a left field buy, maybe. Yeah,
nice. Yeah, I agree with the sentiment of not being too worried about the whole edge forward transitioning to middle forward sort of scenario, because Webby's already shown his hand on that, with Barnett and Nukore both coming in, and they're going to be assuming sort of middle forward roles moving forward. I I've always liked the idea of trying to use Isaiah Papali'i as a middle forward. Bringing him back would be great. And another one of the Tigers I was looking at, a guy who's maybe not kicked on in his career as much as he, as a lot of people thought he would, and that's Joe Ofahengawe. I think he's a solid player, and I've liked what he's been doing with the Tigers. Could just add a bit of experience and a bit of nous to that forward pack. Of course, Jacob Laban is waiting in the wings, and I 100% think that despite him coming up as an edge forward, size wise, I think he's going to be a middle monster. Like he's still filling out, but man, when he's in a couple of years' time, he's going to be a unit.
He's only 19, eh?
Yeah.
Good lord.
Yeah. So there's plenty of juice there. Also, I know Isaac's going to hate this suggestion, but I've always been enamoured as well with the idea of scooping up Dal Malolo if he came out of the Cowboys setup and putting him just to run straight ahead all game. But
his knees, old grey man.
He'll be fine.
Oh. Speaking of middle forwards, though, I reckon this is just back to the game. We did miss Bunty. I reckon when the Manly forwards were really getting on top of us, we missed Bunty's defence. We really did.
That's right, and we'll be missing him for quite a while longer too. Anyone got any mail on Dylan Walker's sort of return?
I thought Butter knew.
Titans. He'll be back
Anzac.
to the Titans game at the moment.
Okay.
Anzac game. That's the plan. So they reckon it was a dodgy ankle that they needed to basically rehab back up properly rather than manage it week to week. So they decided to take out 4 weeks. So he's rebuilding that as well.
No,
So that was the chat from last week. So you never know, but look, we could definitely do with him this week just because of Jazz being out as well. But I don't know if we'll risk him to go to play the Drag Queens.
Excuse me?
Oh, the Dragons.
I
Sorry.
think it was a glitch in the audio there.
Queens of the Desert.
Also a glitch in my memory, because I do remember you now saying that exact timeline last week, and it's all coming back. It's all coming back to me now. Now, next week, Isaac, we're travelling. We're travelling over to take on the aforementioned Dragoons. How will we kick back into gear and get our flow back?
Yeah, I think it's probably a nice game to have a bit of I don't want to say reset, but maybe just take stock of where we're at, particularly with injuries. You can never overlook another team, but the Dragons arguably aren't in that top 8 category. So it'll be nice to go over there, get a away from home win. I mean, I don't want to take anything for granted, but and then have another game like this for some of these young players to come up and just ply their trade. Friday night, is against the Dragons? Friday
Night Lights, yep, down in, I think it's in Wollongong. The Gong. That'll be, another big game coming up, fellas. It's hopefully a little bit less on the, pulling a bit less on the heartstrings than the the previous game. Moneta, what are you looking to see? What sort of specific improvements are you hoping for us to bring out against the Red V?
Oh, just cut down those errors, basically, especially at those crucial times. Like when we were down, I think there was a couple of momentum killers during the game. We were gaining momentum and a couple of errors that cost us. And you kind of just feel deflated after that. But yeah, I think it's as simple as that, really. And Webster pointed it out. We just got to cut down those basic errors. And hopefully we'll go from there.
One thing, Buddha, actually, I have picked up as well is this Warriors team, has a real knack for picking up mass points within the last sort of 8 to 10 minutes before half time. And it happened again, against Manly. We were down 16-0, and we came back again. And what do you think that's down to? How do we manage to do that within that, heading into half time?
We're a fit squad. We've got a team that and also typically when we get into grind football, we put the other team under a lot of pressure. We're a team that likes to have the ball in play a lot as well, and like to move fast. So I think across the board, we're probably a smaller pack as well, except for Adam and Mitchie. Our edges aren't massive as well. So I think we like to play with a bit of pace, and you kind of get that fatigue factor late in the game, late in the half, late in the game as well. So I think it's kind of partially why we had the ability to come back, put a lot of points on. Also, we talk about our game style modelled off Penrith, right? Our back five do a lot of work too. So they're fit, man, really fit. And maybe that takes away from sometimes their top end freshness, coming out the back and all that kind of stuff on pretty elite plays. That try that we conceded when they broke from inside their half, and I think Talau put the kick in. We looked pretty slouchy. There was no outside backs there, because a lot of our guys do a lot of work like that.
Yeah, right.
So I think that's part of where things are at. But a couple of points I just want to raise, and kind of on the errors. Yeah, it's pretty hard in the with the footy to not drop the pill, right? Especially contact errors, And there were a few of those. Dylan had one come flying out, right, and he was going 60, 100k an hour into the tackle. So those things are going to happen. But probably there was just a couple of things that really, not annoyed me, but one was the fifth tackle strip that Ali went for. And we've been calling to, have the smarts to...
That was the fifth tackle, so I remember now.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, killed momentum.
That's a momentum killer. I mean, it's a momentum killer. They're trying to wrest it back, but you think first or second tackle, not the last tackle as well. Yeah. But what I like is we're getting our mindset into that. The Storm do it all the time, right? But they had the mindset to do it, just not then. And the other errors are like concentration errors as well. And the RTS drop early on, he just dropped it cold. And you think, and actually I've just got a little theory with RTS. Ooh. I love him, absolutely love him, but I think he's adjusting to what big performances in the front of a big crowd, like what that really means. There were just a couple of plays where maybe he's, slacking it back at Blues when there's 3,000 people watching you and no one gives a shit. Like, the pressure's not really there, right? But here, there's a bit of pressure because he dropped the ball cold when... Look, we all know what he was trying to do. He was just thinking about who's going to step before he gets the ball. And that happens, right? So the other one was the kind of slight loose carry, and he got hit from the side, right, where you think, keep that tight. And the last one wasn't really an error, but I know Shawnee wasn't happy, was the short kickoff in the second half of the Golden Point. Like, we're actually really lucky that they caught that on the 25. And we're lucky we kept into the half because I was freaking out. I was like, well, they're going to catch that. It's first tackle. DC is going to hit one from 30 out. Like we were all worried DCE was going to ice that game, Yep. And so the boys picked up on there, but I know Shawnee wasn't happy. I looked over him and was like,
you could see him, mate.
Again, it's a big game kind of pressure. And you know what? You don't want to be the guy who kicked the ball out in the full because you're hyped up, But yeah, so it's not a rag on him, but I think he's just adjusting back to the spotlight of real pressure cooker football, not Super Rugby. 1,200 people watching you.
I was thinking a little bit about Roger's mistakes as well, and it only just kind of occurred to me that it was his first game back in that role, unimpeded, uninterrupted. Just this is where you want to be at left centre. We're not going to move you around fullback for HIA cover or whatever injuries, or back to the right wing, or all that sort of shit. So I was like, okay, that in my head kind of does actually create a decent reasoning for it. Also, I'm not a psychologist, but Buddha, those instances sound suspiciously like they annoyed you, bro. Even though you said they didn't annoy me, but it sounded like they did.
Well, no, Roger's amazing, right? Like you have Roger every day of the week, twice on Sundays. You want him in there, but I think there is just a bit of an adjustment back to actually, real super competitive. These are games that kind of say make or break seasons, right? But it's so tight now. Massive crowd. as well.
You think any pressure from the game 200 though, as well, for him?
No. I mean, maybe not. I mean, there was last week. To be fair,
They celebrated it this week, though. I mean,
just because they brought him, just because he was home.
Yeah. But there would have been a little bit of pressure from that as well, with the crowd and just everyone riding him on to celebrate. Well, 201, but yeah, I do see your point. He did look a little bit. I don't want to say out of place, but maybe the occasion got the better of him that particular game.
I think it's just an adjustment back to this is tough, and he knows it. He's been there, and I guess you go back to Chance last year, and even Rocco and that. They're quite composed, right? And I think someone like Rocco is probably coming and he's playing pressure cooker footy.
But again, but to your point, it was with a lot of people made mistakes. Even seeing K made a mistake. Through that ball to Wade.
Well, that's another thing, yeah.
Oopsie daisy. So it was everyone was I think, Damani made a defensive error, I thought, with that one try down our left side. So everyone didn't have that perfect game.
And Tohu dropped the ball cold as well in front of the post and extra time. That killed me. Of him, of all people,
I know,
to
right?
drop the ball. Tohu, an extra time?
Oh, yeah, that killed it to me too. Everyone was players that you wouldn't expect to make mistakes. So, it's RTS, but I think everyone knows that there wasn't their finest performance.
Yeah, I mean, contact ones like that, it's just hard, because there's so much work on the ball. Yeah, literally, without stripping it, they are pretty much badgering the ball, eh?
Yeah,
that was tough. And that try that they conceded, that was amazing. But when was it Brooksy? DCE, wasn't it? He had two options. He had, and then he had Turbo around the back. Actually, they just picked that beautifully. I mean, I looked and I was like, was it Roger made that mistake? And I was like, nah, they had three options. And, and I think they just got the numbers right. But yeah, the errors out. The errors are just one of those things where I've got the Canberra game in the background. I've seen the ball fly up about 7 times and it's only been 20 minutes. So it's how they back it up, and we definitely backed it up. But just think. Just a little thing, just nothing, not concerned about.
Not annoying. It's not annoying.
It's just an observation.
It's not annoying. It just seems a little bit nearly annoying. Big game. What is it? Friday, 8 p.m. New Zealand time kickoff. So, everyone get set for that. Also, just a quick note before we jump out as well. Really cool to see Sean, the old legs, showing a bit of the old pop and step. It was like, yeah, boy, he's still got it for when.
It's a bit of a Southeast Asian calves, I think. Oh, yeah, Isaac.
Well, I was a bit worried. I was like,
don't
pop a calf.
But I'd love to see that 1-2 step.
That's right. That's it.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
If we really need it, he's still got it, man. He's still got it in the legs. So just use it carefully.
After he scored that try as well, he was looking up and going, I can still do it. I could see him looking back as he was looking up as he was walking back, sort of thinking to himself, yeah, I can still step like that. I was like, yes.
Do you hear his brother years and years and years ago said, when Sean scores an amazing try, he always misses the kick afterwards. Because apparently, back in the day, he would have been playing the kind of he scored some amazing tries, right? Yeah. And that was pretty up there, for context of the game where he was at, and just a mass step on Turbo, show and go as well. But then I walked away, and then someone said he missed the kick, and I was like, I was right next to the post, as well. But
that Turbo, he wasn't running it at full turbo though, was he? He looked a little bit under the weather, I thought. But boys, we're out of time. We're going to get it out in under 40 minutes, which is nice.
And we spent most of it talking about not that annoying part, that RTS, right?
Yeah, it's not annoying. It's not annoying. It's not annoying.
I'm not annoyed.
No. So we'll look forward to next Friday. Check in with us on Tuesday as well. We're going to have Teams Day coming up for you to go through the lineups, which will be.
Hopefully, you can see my face too.
That's right.
Like and subscribe for Manira's face.
That's right. You're going to pay extra for that. Jerry Cronin on behalf of Moneta Sauce, or at least the bottom half of his face, or maybe the whole face this week. Isaac Sauce and Daniel Wharakura. This is Warriors Anonymous. We'll catch you next week. Well, no, not next week. We'll catch you in a couple of days. Peace. Catch you. Peace.